either throwing out those spike strips, which obviously it would be way too dangerous. And in terms of a motorcycle, I'm not sure if they would even do that. I now that I'm saying that live on the air, I really doubt that. And then, of course, a pit maneuver, and that's not going to happen either. We don't cover motorcycle pursuits too often. It's more with the vehicles. So that would be great if we could get... He often joins us for these pursuits when we're live with you here on Good Night. We'll see if we can't bring him on at this late hour. So here we are. Will the motorcyclist down with the shoulder take that off ramp? Nope, just cruising on by. And when I say cruising, close to 100 miles per hour, just past the Fullerton Road exit here. This is East San Gabriel Valley, westbound 60. So when we picked this up, it was in really the carpool lane. Now it looks like it's in a construction zone, more on the shoulder, doing whatever he or she can to elude authorities. And right now doing a pretty darn good job as we now zoom in, and you can just imagine what that must feel like on that bike right now. I mean, just full blast here, 136 miles per hour. This is all of our extreme nav technology that's able to bring us the hours. So this is one of the more dangerous pursuits that we've covered. Off the shoulder there, it could so easily lose control going speeds that quickly. And it looks like we're taking this on-ramp, off-ramp here, westbound 60. And it makes me feel a little more comforted now that speeds have certainly backed off as we're at the intersection here, the off-ramp. This is Azusa Avenue in the East San Gabriel Valley, South Azusa Avenue. And now we're back over the freeway, and the demeanor of this motorcyclist looks a little bit more calm, more relaxed as well. Just 45 miles per hour. Huge sigh of relief now. A little less dangerous. Nonetheless, it is still dangerous as we are still honed in. A tighter shot here. Can't see the black and whites, but surely they are behind them. CHP. And when we cover these pursuits, oh, there it is. CHP coming up really tight behind. Really tight behind. South Azusa Avenue and Colima Road in the east. Making a left turn here, no problem. You know, CHP, when agency, they coordinate with other agencies, but they absolutely are the agency. So they're coordinating with other local offices to do what they can to warn them, to let them know we're coming into your jurisdiction. But they have full reign. This is Colima Road and Albatross Road, East San Gabriel. Okay, music to my ears. We have retired police officer Tim Lynn joining me now. Tim, I'm really glad that you're with us. Hope we didn't wake you. Not often. I mean, I'm used to covering pursuits of big rigs and vehicles, SUVs, etc. But motorcyclists, how do you bring this to an end?
There's not much you can do with a motorcycle. You just have to stick with them and hope they run out of gas or end up making a bad down, because there's not anything, any type of procedure you can do to stop a motorcycle. Spike strips are out of the question. Obviously, a pit is out of the question. So at this point, the CHP fans stick with them. I'm very surprised that they've stayed this close to this motorcycle for this long, because normally when you get in behind a motorcycle, light them up to make a traffic stop, they're nothing more than a streak ahead of you, and there's no way you can keep up with it because of their maneuverability, able to split traffic and go through places that the units aren't able. They have a CHP air unit overhead, as well as this one unit that's sticking really close to it, even up above 100 miles an hour. They are flying at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think the highest we got up to was 140 miles per hour. I'm not sure if you heard me, but I said, usually when we talk about how you bring these to an end, as I'm saying this live, and I said a pit maneuver or spike strips, and I thought to myself, well, that doesn't make sense when you're dealing with a motorcyclist, so you're just going to have to wait this one out. Situation when it comes to gas, because obviously they get a lot less bang for their buck when it comes to filling up those tanks.
Right, they have a small tank on them, but they are very economical as far as a big V8 sitting underneath it there. So, but they do use up a lot of gas when you're running at high speed, high RPM. But, I'm giving this CHP officer pretty good credit here, because he is sticking with this guy. Now that we're up on the freeway, he is really going to, grab a handful and get it going faster. You can see those speeds go well above 100 really quickly, and he's pulling away from that unit. But luckily, that air unit is still overhead, keeping an eye on that ground unit can stay back a bit and not have to try to drive at 124 miles an hour to stay with them. The one thing I have seen in these pursuits, both in the police helicopter and in media helicopters, is they'll get going so fast they run out of room when they're 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 room when
was involved.
Yeah, they're not going to see the motorcycle coming. That's just a single headlight coming behind them, and it's coming at such a high speed that you're looking in your rearview mirrors where you're not having, you're just having 2D vision. You can't pick up that distance and that movement, and before you know it, it's by you. Half the time, these drivers aren't even going to know until that motor or the unit behind is now catching back up, but they usually get that far enough ahead to where you don't notice the unit. But you see how he's splitting traffic and using all lanes to get around. The police car is going to have to make maneuvers here to get around. The problem is now they're going to see the motorcycle go fast, then they're going to look up, start becoming aware, and start making lane changes where that officer's really going to have to be careful at those speeds to be able to maneuver. So more than likely he'll back off just a little bit, let that area unit keep and call the pursuit for him and do their best to stay up. But when they get going this speed, it becomes very dangerous just for the mere fact that they're not able to get around things. The unit behind is not able to get around things, and people are just as you race along the freeways here.
It is so dangerous and scary to watch. Tim, the first report came to us that there was a motorcyclist doing stunts in a parking lot, and authorities were called, and then that's when the pursuit was on. What do you make of that?
Well, from what the information that the desk has supplied is that he was in the Fairplex out in Pomona doing parking lot, and the fairgrounds security called, and just so happened the area was able to pick up on the vehicle. The ground units were able to engage down the freeway. Went out pretty far east out on the Inland Empire, but then came back around and picked up the 57 freeway to the 60, and now back eastbound. So he was westbound 60 at one point, now he's back eastbound. So he's heading back towards so this will take him back towards the Pomona area and that Fairplex area if he goes north on the 57. So right now it's just better staying with him as best they can on the ground without putting too many people in. And also let that area handle it as best they can from the air. But that officer in that unit is doing a fantastic job of sticking with him at these speeds.
Yeah, 116 miles per hour. We always talk about, CHP, absolutely the lead agency, and yet when you're going through various jurisdictions, you are in communication with other law enforcement agencies. But make no mistake, it's CHP's ultimate bottom line call to bring this to an end.
That's correct. Yeah, they're in charge of the pursuit right now. They've taken the over lead, and what will happen now? You have the watch commanders in the different offices as he's moving through. They will determine, if this should continue on the ground or just let the area monitor. But right now, I can tell you that CHP is the only area that's overhead, other than media, is watching this. So we have to figure out how long that CHP area. In a way, it's the design of the roadway. You have center dividers, you have those dips I told you about, and then curves that come up that aren't, like I said, designed for these types of speed. You see he's passing people, at 100 miles an hour. It doesn't take much for some make a maneuver to cause that rider to lose control of that motorcycle. So, but I've been watching here on the map to what his track was, and he is pretty much back in the area where this started, just a little further south. He came off the freeway earlier, he got on the freeway earlier, westbound 60 at about Vineyard, and he's coming up on Vineyard now, so we'll see if he makes that turn. In fact, he just went through it there. We'll see if he makes the turn back towards the fairgrounds. More likely, he'll get to a point where he'll try to ride to a place that's safe, that he knows and will be able to get off.
Okay, on the wrong side of the road just for a second there, and 105 miles per hour, East Riverside Drive and Ontario Avenue in Ontario. And I'm also looking at, he's obviously a very skilled motorcyclist. I mean, and that he was caught doing stunts at the Pomona Fairplex a little earlier this evening. So he knows how to maneuver the bike quite well as he takes that right turn. And now we're on South Archibald Avenue, East Chino Avenue, ramping up speeds yet again. Is one thing that we could see, obviously, as you pointed out, that he could easily lose control. There could be something in the roadway that could throw him off, literally and figuratively, or he could just run and ditch the bike. We often see that happen in pursuits, whether it's on a motorcycle or a vehicle, big or small. Oh, I'm just slowing down because speeds are really slowing down, Tim. You mentioned that maybe he knows his neighborhood, and it looks like he probably knows his neighborhood.
There you go.
Yep, look at that. Look at that.
Been there, done that, seen this a few times, and I pulled over, but the unit's pulling it by, and I'm going to give up. It's done. I don't want to race anymore. So here's to home, so you don't get your motorcycle towed, and now you're going to be taken into custody for felony evading. So that's how his night's going to end.
That ended as quickly as he was driving. I mean, literally just pulled over onto the side of the road. And so your suspicion is that this is where this person lives?